Hello and welcome back to Ollie Talks Airsoft. It's time for me to be talking about the brand new PMag that's just come out. It's Guns Modify. So we've all seen the hype, we've seen what it's about. Is it worth it? Is it worth buying? Hopefully by the end of today's video you're going to know the answer. So first off, how does it compare to the mag that most people have actually already got? This is the SAA. This is the new Guns Modify. Let's first up, let's just put them side by side. We can have a look here. The markings on them are pretty similar, but what's really going to stick out to people is these two pinholes here. So, yep, Guns Modify kind of wins on that. On the back here, you do actually have the fill valve. So this one fills from the rear. Obviously, again, this one fills from the bottom. So when it's actually in the gun, so I've borrowed my friend's stock Tokyo Marui MWS here, so newer magwell, things like that. Yep, from here there's actually nothing on there that you can see that it's not kind of a real PMag. Obviously with the Ace 1 Arms version, you can see on the bottom that you know when the gun is up, you do still have your fill valve there. Obviously the pins are hidden when it's in the gun, but when it's out, yeah, this is slightly more realistic, which I do like. The actual markings that they've done on them as well, it's a little bit easier to see, but there are actually, the markings are pretty much like for like, slightly different numbers that they've used, but nothing major. The other thing that I noticed is actually the shape here, this rectangle. That's actually not the correct shape for a PMag. They've actually got it right here on the Guns Modify version. So where the mag catch engages is correct on the Guns Modify, and it's not on the SAA one or the Ace 1 Arms. So let's talk about another really big factor with this, or what I think is a really big factor, is the weight. This comes in at 326 grams. Now, bear in mind, the Ace 1 Arms was 380 something grams, and this one is like 440 something grams. So this is a full 120 grams lighter than the original version. It pretty much means that if you're carrying 3 of these for the same weight, you could be carrying 4 of these. You've got the same ammo capacity, it's still 35 rounds in there, or that's what I've managed to fit in anyway. I'm not going to try and squeeze any more in. But one of the most interesting things about this new mag is actually the way that you load it. So, not the gas, no one cares about that. That just squirts in whatever. Although, while I'm taking this apart, I will tell you that, yeah, you can fit a full 30 grams of gas inside one of these things. Now, once you do that, the mag is actually overfilled. So I would suggest, counting, doing as bad as being suggested. You've got like, if you fill for like about 12 seconds, I think it's like 12 to 14 seconds, something like that, you're going to get this sort of like 2/3 full of gas. It's going to mean that, or liquid gas, it's going to mean there's still a bit of airspace in there, and it means you're going to get good expansion. So basically you're not going to get any kind of problems. I think this mag is probably overfilled. Hopefully you saw all of that gas expelling out of the side. Yeah, that implies that the mag's overfilled. So what you do is you take the base plate off by pressing this bit in, and you'll notice there's actually another button here, and that's not useful at the moment, and it just presses all the way in. You kind of, what's it for? Well, it doesn't become useful until you press on the whole of the bottom here, and all of this bit slides out. Now, it may look smooth, but it's really kind of not. It's kind of, even though I've done this plenty of times now, I put like a little bit of lube on the side here, tried obviously not to get any in the trough where you would put the BBs, but put some on the side, just tried to smooth it up. It's still very difficult. And this leads to what I think is one of the fundamental flaws of this magazine, but there is a way that you can overcome it. So, as you'll see here, we've got the follower, and it's kind of connected. So if I move this up, it goes up. If I pull it down, it goes down. What you have to do is you have to pull it all the way out until it clicks. that click there. What that means is, it means it'll lock the follower, and then when you put the mag back together, it didn't actually follow it up. It stays all the way down. So when it's closed up, you then press this button at the bottom, as you can see there, and it will shoot the follower up. So I'm not going to do that right now because it's not very good for your mag. So, but what I will do is let's put some BBs in here, and I will show you the problem that I very unsurprisingly ran into. So what we're going to do is, obviously, if you've got like a big bucket of BBs or something, you can just put them in. But for me, I've only got the speed loader, so I will load this up. It's weird loading it like horizontally, or you kind of get a little bit used to it, but it's just not the same. Okay, so you'll get it to like this point, so I've got to be quite careful because you don't kind of want to knock it over. And the big problem that you'll find is, the thing is, you don't want to touch the BBs, because any dirt, oil, sweat or anything that's on my hand, I really don't want to get that onto the BB. I want these to be as clean as possible before they like get run through the gun. So you kind of have to like kind of press it against your chest and kind of, and there we go. And already the BBs are starting to just fall out. So we haven't actually got any loaded into the gun, and in fact we've got less out. So, oh, managed to catch my t-shirt in there. So yeah, it's not really fully loaded it. It's getting looser, but it's still not there for me. So you do that and you press that, and obviously you know it's working because the BBs will follow up there. So from what I can tell, there are like 4 ways that you can load the PMag. So we're going to go through them now in the order of worst to best. So first you take the bottom off. Next you press this all the way up until it clicks, and that holds the follower in. So my least favourite is basically filling the trough like this with BBs, trying to make sure they're staggered quite well. You can see I'm losing quite a few. This is okay. We're pretty much done there. Then in order to get them in easily, you can put your thumb over the top there and press them all in, and kind of run your thumb down as you press it in, like press it against a surface or something like that. There we go. And then once they're all in, press the button at the bottom, ping, the rounds come up. That's not good, especially when it puts them through the mag lips at the top, because that would damage them. I don't like this this method of doing it. I think that's a bad way of doing it. So, and especially because you saw there I was touching the BBs, terrible. Yep, don't want that. Yeah, you can see what's kind of going on in there. It's like it's not having a great day. Okay, so that is ultimately, that's I think like the absolute worst method. The next worst method is the one that I just showed you there, where you fill it up and you slowly push it against your chest. The third method that I think is probably is pretty good, and this one is for if you've just got a normal speed loader with no tip, then you can still get this mag filled up, which is rare for a gas blowback. So pull it until it clicks, push it in, leave a gap here, and what you're going to do is you're going to put your BBs through this gap here instead of through the top. So now one of the problems here is you want to try and keep the mag as straight up as you can, and if you want you can kind of like jiggle it a little bit as you do, just to try and make sure that they seat themselves or stagger themselves down nicely. So eventually you'll keep doing it and you'll see the BBs start to come up through the top, so you can get a couple more in. You can still kind of jam them all the way through, right up until they're almost coming out the top there. So as soon as I push that down, and now when I do it, we shouldn't get one popping through the top ideally, but I'm going to risk it. There we go. So it has, we've almost loaded up to the top there. Before, the BBs were probably down here, pushed them up so violently, one popped out the top. This one, we're good to go. You know what? Let's just, there's only one way to get BBs out of a gun. The fun one. Okay, and then the fourth way that you can load your mag is actually just like the way that you would load any other normal gas blow bag mag. So you don't have to bother mucking around with the base plate at the bottom. You see, actually, I forgot to put it back on there. And that's the thing, you know, out in the field, something that you have to like take off your mag, the chance of you putting it down and leaving it somewhere and maybe forgetting it, that's increased. So I would actually prefer, I think the best way to do it is just, yeah, go in, use your normal tip, put it on there. It's the safest. You're not touching any of the BBs. Yeah, seems effective to me. Let's just get rid of these as well. Not bad. On with the video. We will fire a few shots through the chrono, and we'll see what kind of numbers we're going to get out of this. And see what it feels like as well, because actually that is one of the most significant things if you're thinking about upgrading a magazine. How does it feel? Is it more or less poppy, like more or less snappy or anything like that? It's always interesting to know. So let's see what kind of numbers we get. I should say we are running 0.2 gram BBs and ASG Ultra Air green gas. So that comes in at 321 FPS. I have trimmed the rocket valve spring in here, which is why there's going to be slightly lower numbers than you could probably expect at home. So 316, 312, 307, 302, 301, 306, 299, 291, 287, 297, 290, 299, 292, 278, 277, 283, 277, 271, 272, 275, 271, 270, 267, 268, 267, 271, 256. It's actually not locking back. So we ended up on 256 FPS there. That was after how many shots fired? So 28 rounds fired. And that was a loss of, we went from 321. So what's that, about 60 something. Okay, well, I think that the most sensible thing to do now is just stack that up directly against a Tokyo Marui stock magazine and see exactly what that does. So this one hasn't been green gas modified, this is just a completely normal one, so it can't really be overfilled with gas. So 306, 304, 298, 306, 308, 303, 300, 293, 297, 293, 288, 286, 292, 275, 281, 278, 283, 274, 275, 266, 271, 267, 260, 264, 260, 262, 265, 257, 260, 255, 258, 258, 248, 248, 246. So it ended up about 10 FPS lower, but actually the highest figure I think we got out of that was maybe 308, if I remember correctly. So pretty similar figures there actually, and I think I was shooting relatively consistently as far as my speed goes. So, you know, for me, yeah, it's kind of, it's given a tiny little FPS boost there, and yeah, that is noticeable. So why don't we now chuck this in a slightly different rifle. Still an MWS, but what have we got here? We have got my F1 build. Love this thing. Okay, yeah. Let's see how it eats it. So this is aftermarket completely. Yeah, there's no TM left, but I think the only TM is that pin going through there. That's it. Right. 319, 322, 337, 325. This is I need to. There's a bit of a trigger reset problem there. Not ideal, but just need to go and tweak the trigger box. That's all. But let's see what we get out of a stock MWS mag. Let's see if that gives us some different numbers at all. So 306, 300, yeah, 321, 307. Basically the same numbers. Let's just, well, there's one in the chamber. 308. So you know what? It's yeah, it's a little bit higher FPS that I'm getting, and that's across like a couple of platforms. So of course I'm not going to forget about my Type 89 guys. I got you. Let's have a go. So it is a seriously tight fit. Like you put it in, it feels like you've got resistance there, but it will just pull out. Like you've got to put it in. Even if you give it a bit of a smack, you can still sometimes get it out. Best thing to do is just make sure that it's flush on this side. So this part here, just make sure that that's completely flush, and then you're going to be okay. So this gun is now live. Yeah, it does fit, but it is really, really tight. Let's shoot a couple of rounds off. And we do get bolt lock on it. So yeah, hopefully that answers basically all the questions. You know what? In for a penny, in for a pound. I'll got this one as well, because why not? Yeah. Let's go a bit MWS crazy. Right. Let's see what we get out of this one. So 431, 419, 410, and we are out. It's not looking back because I've got it short stroked. Let's see what this one gets us. Yeah, all in battery. 419, 419, 424, 416, 417. Consistent. Yeah, pretty nice. Let's just see what we get out of this one. Right. 442. So something I didn't really touch on, because it's not really that important, is there is actually a thermometer on here. So you can kind of tell what temperature the mag is at, and you know they do advise the optimum temperatures for it to work at. It's okay, it's not really necessary, to be perfectly honest. Like yeah, that's why I haven't really talked about it too much. So yeah, I think what I can safely say is actually, after a bit of using and a bit of testing, it's pretty good. It actually feels a bit more poppy, and this is one of the key things that, for me, certainly using a mag, like it's not really how much it boosts my FPS, because I know that I can do that all internally in the gun. I really kind of just want my mags to like deliver the power source, and it does. Yeah, it does. You can feel it more in the shoulder with these. I would still say I'm waiting for the TA windowed PMags to come through as well. I did ask the guy at Running Workshop, and he said that he thought that they were better than these SAA Ace 1 arms. I've got to say, I think this is also probably better than this SAA one, because it's a bit more poppy, it's slightly more realistic, it's lighter, it's a bit more expensive, but you know, if you shop around, then you can get them a bit cheaper. You don't have to use their proprietary loading method. You can still just load it the old school way. I do like that. Yeah, and it fits in all of the different MWSs that I've just tried here. So sometimes with these, I have had slight fitment issues where you saw me give it a smack on my last gun there, on my Geisley. Sometimes it just doesn't want to seat right, and I think that's probably just to do with them not quite getting this design here right, and Guns Modified just paid like a little bit more attention, and they got it a little bit more right. So for me, yeah, this kind of gets my thumbs up. Actually, I was kind of wanting to not like it. I don't, coming in with a proprietary design and stuff, it just seemed all a bit gimmicky to me. So for me, it's all about like, what is the performance like? The performance is not bad. Let's just shoot this to bolt lock so you can see that it does actually work the same as a normal MWS mag. It's always nice to end off with a bit of shooting. Chrono to one side so I don't shoot my way through it. But what we'll do is we will... Oh, I thought there was going to be a couple in there. Who cares? That's not even what we're talking about. This is what we're talking about. Yeah. Absolutely smoking. Like, I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna set something up just the other side so you can get more of an idea of the recoil, and we'll do a mag dump on each mag. Yeah. So here we go, the final test, the final countdown. We're gonna do this in the order of how they feel to me as the end user. Right. Not enough to lock back. Right, next up, stock Tokyo Marui MWS. Can't go wrong. That is just a great time all day long. Right, next up, how about a mag with BBs? Good start. Right, this is an upgraded SAA PMag. See, already, right there, that feels more poppy in the shoulder. And at least it had enough power to lock back. Right, now the one that we're all here for. Where is it? Okay, right. Easy insertion into the mag well. No wobble. That's probably something that's worth noting as well. There is no wobble here. Like, there's not really any side to side, not really any up or down. With, it's that's got T8 mag lips. This has got stock lips. Yep, that's also a pretty tight fit in there. Just note that the original TM mag has moved in every direction. Right, so yep, here we go. In we go. Nice, nice tight fit. No problem chambering. I've not had any problems with like the bolts hanging up or anything like that. This mag has just been great. Now, that to me, like, that has more in the shoulder. It feels more snappy. Okay, it locks back. Just load it up with a bunch more BBs. Let's just, it's a fun mag. tell by that grin that we're quite happy. Yeah, as much as I kind of want to neg on like new products and stuff, it's pretty good, can't lie. Will I be getting any more? I've already got quite a lot of MWS mags, so probably not. And I'm also obviously going to wait to see what that offering from T8 is like. So obviously, if you're not subscribed and you want to see what the comparison between the T8, the Guns Modify, and the SA8 and the original, including the various upgrades in between, then subscribe, because that's going to be of interest to you. So probably the last thing I want to say is, don't forget that this, obviously I've only had this for a week, and so my testing is limited to a week's worth of testing. It's not been tested in every condition, in every environment. You know, I'm limited with what I can do in the time that I have. But yeah, so far actually pretty good. As for the longevity, I really can't speak for it yet. Thank you so much for spending your time with me, and a big shout out and a massive thank you to all the new subscribers. It's lovely to see you all on here. I'm glad that you're enjoying the content, or at least I hope you are. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one.